Torah Garden, speaking the absolute truth. Torah Nation.
Shalom, shalom, or should I say Shabbat shalom? We know Shabbat begins at sundown today and goes to sundown tomorrow. We are here to magnify the name of Yahuwah and to declare the Basora of truth as he has instructed me by the witness of the Ruach HaKodesh. The message is, you must receive the witness. And in receiving the witness, you must receive his Ruach HaKodesh. We're listening to Hezekiah. The song is titled Jerusalem. I don't own the rights to this music. Listen. We are going in. We are praying and seeking Yahuwah's word and direction, that we may do that which he has chosen and called us to do. Yahuwah, in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach, I give you praise. I give you praise for my kinsman redeemer. I give you praise for the Ruach HaKodesh, for the water and the blood. I give you praise for the words that you gave to Yahusha HaMashiach that he has given to me through Yahuchanon, the word, the Basora of truth, which I have received in my heart. And because I have, you have given me your Ruach HaKodesh that lives in me, that equips me to be a witness to the Basora of truth and to call the people of Yehuda and the grafted in Gentiles into the body of Mashiach unto the witness of Yahusha HaMashiach. Yahuwah, I give you praise. I give you praise for this witness. I give you praise for this truth. Yahuwah, I pray that you would take the reins of my lips and the reins of my tongue and reign. I pray, Yahuwah, that by your Ruach HaKodesh you would continue to lead and guide. Yahuwah, that you would quicken and make alive by your Basora and your Ruach HaKodesh of truth. Yahuwah, I pray that you would make manifest your purpose in me. Make manifest your purpose in me. In the name of Yahusha HaMashiach, continue to allow me to be a witness of Yahusha HaMashiach. In the name of Yahusha HaMashiach, I pray. Yahuwah, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. Yahuwah, help me not to cause anyone to be turned out of the way, anyone to stumble, anyone to come up late. Yahuwah, use me according to your word. Yahuwah, I give you praise. Yahuwah, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart again be acceptable in thy sight. Yahuwah, my strength and my redeemer. Listen, Yasharal and Yahuda grafted in Gentiles into the body of a Mashiach. It's about the witness of Yahusha. It's about the witness of Yahusha. This Yeshua is about the witness and receiving the witness of Yahusha Mashiach. That's what we do, what we preach, what we declare. The witness of Yahusha HaMashiach. That's what we do. Listen. Nothing else matters. The witness of Yahusha HaMashiach should be everything to you. You who have been made alive by Yahusha HaMashiach, you who bear in your body, right, the witness of Yahusha HaMashiach, listen, first and foremost, should be first and foremost in your life. We going in. Listen. We going in. Listen, man of Yah, woman of Yah. Hezekiah. Song is titled Jerusalem. I don't own the rights to this music. We going in. Listen, man of Yah, woman of Yah, listen. Right? It's about the witness. It's about the witness. And the witness is what we see happening in Acts. That's the witness. Right? What we see demonstrated in the book of Acts is how it looks. The witness of Yahushua Mashiach. Right? This is what it looks like. Listen, we have Yahudiym that are still scattered in these countries that don't know Yahushua HaMashiach, They haven't received the witness. Right? Right? But yet we feel that it's okay, to accept the fact that, Yahuwah has reached everybody. Right? And we're satisfied with where we're at in our little space and time in the awakening. Right? 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 And everybody is awakened. Right? They're awakened. Right? They're awakened. They recognize it. There's something different going on. Even the religious right know of the awakening. And they consider the awakening, right? They consider the awakening as what is occurring in the left. They consider the awakening affecting their right. Listen, we have to be about Yahusha's business. We have to be about the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. It's that time. It's that time. What we've seen in Christianity ain't that. What they have done in reaching the four corners of the earth, right? It ain't that. Right? It ain't that. Right? Because they profaned his name. It ain't that. They changed the Shabbat to Sunday. It ain't that. They profaned his name. Right? They've mixed L's. And they've taken the Basora and the Torah of truth and mixed it together with other L's. They profaned the name. Listen, it ain't that. We have to go and reach the brethren. I understand it now more than I did. To be absolutely honest with you, the Ruach HaKodesh in me and having him have me to deliver this message of the witness and going forth in the witness in the Ruach HaKodesh, it's quickened me, right? I've been quickened by the Ruach HaKodesh, but it's made me alive in a way that I just know that I got to get busy and I got to get out. Yeah. I got to preach this Basora. I got to go with signs following. I got to trust you who is Ruach HaKodesh. Y'all don't hear me. Listen. It ain't what you see. It ain't that. It ain't that running around getting people to understand that they Hebrews. It's not just that. Listen, it's not just that. It's getting them to receive the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. Getting them to receive the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. Understanding. Yeah, you've been hid. Right? And yes, you are Yahudiym. Your ancestry is in Africa, but it's in Africa because it's attached to a people who migrated to Africa. Who are of the tribe of Yahudah, whose ancestry was taken, scattered over the Americas. See, this Besorah's got to preach. This Besorah's got to be preached. These people got to be reached for the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. You got people in areas that don't have TVs. You have people in some areas, right, that don't have access. They're Yahudiym. They don't know they're Yahudiym, knowing they're awakening now to their African ancestry, right? But what does that mean? This Basora has to be preached. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. You're going to have to get out and preach this Basora. You're going to have to get out and preach this Basora. You're going to have to reach the four corners of the earth because that ain't it. That ain't it. Right? That has profaned the witness of Yahusha. That's profaned it. Listen, you got to do it. Right? It's got to be done. It's got to be done. It's got to be done. We left off in Acts, the 18th chapter, the 23rd verse. Paul was, prior to that, leaving Ephesus, right? Having went into the synagogue and preached, right? To the Yahudiym, and no doubt to the Gentiles that were also in Ephesus, right? And they desired Paul to stay, right? Right? They desired Paul to stay. Paul had been reasoning with the Yahudiym, bringing the idea of the Mashiach and how it is in the original covenant and aligning it with it being the fulfillment of Yahusha. And they desired to hear more. Right? Paul had to leave and go to Jerusalem for the feast. Right? He had to go to Antioch to report. He's been gone for probably over 3 years, preaching and teaching this witness. Right? Now understand this, right? Right? Understand this. This awakening, right? This awakening of the recognition of us being Hebrew, right? It's been really in the last 6 years, say roughly, right? 6 years. And in this 6 years, all we've come to know is that we are Hebrews. That's all we've come to know. We're Hebrews. We've done the research. Some of these people in these other countries, right? They don't even know that by the revelation of the knowledge that we have received and what we've had access to. Some of them they don't have that. Right? They don't have that. They don't understand it. They bruise, right? They still in the lands of their captivities, right? Suffering oppression, right? 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 Now that's 5 years we've been awakened, right? Right? We know who we are, the Yahudiym, right? But even in the awakening, there's not a quickening, right? So you have our people that are awake, right? But ain't quickened. And Yahusha Mashiach. They're not quickened. They haven't received the witness of Yahusha Mashiach. And those that have received the witness of Yahusha Mashiach don't understand the signs that follow. They haven't really explored what it means to receive the witness of Yahusha Mashiach, what that looks like. Right? You have our people who understand their culture, right? Our traditions, right? That which makes us Yahudiym to some respect because of what they have understood and identified as characteristics and things that we did that represented us as a nation of people, right? But the quickening, the ruach HaKodesh, that's which establishes you in the witness, right? But we feel like now we ready, we prepared, right? We ready to go into the wilderness, or we're ready to be gathered. Right? No. It took 5 years. 6 years for us just to recognize that we're Yahudiym. And having understood that we're Yahudiym, right? We still have to receive the witness of the ruach hakodesh, right? As a people, the quickening. That's why Yahuwah told me, he said, listen, you got to tell my people they need the ruach hakodesh. You got to tell my people they need to understand what the witness is. We still have Yahudiym that need to receive the witness of Yahusha Mashiach. It ain't Christianity. They didn't do it. They profaned his name. The beast system has went through the four corners of the earth. Yahuwah has awakened the world. Everybody's understanding their culture, right? And the Americas, the right feels that this is their culture. The Americas, everything they did, right? From landing on Plymouth Rock or whatever, they believe it. They believe they're the Lord and God, right? And Jesus, right? They believe that that's theirs. We don't ascribe to that, right? They profaned his name. They profaned his name. And y'all, we've been awakened 5, 6, say 7 years. And have we once went in to these cities and preached Yahusha HaMashiach's witness in order to be established in the kingdom of Elohiym? Yeah, we teach in our assemblies. We do all of this teaching in our assemblies. But have we reached out, right, into the world to be the witnesses in this hour? Because see, that's what's going to bring the persecution. Yeah. See, you sitting around here planning and preparing, right, for a collapse, right? Even when the disciples, they were going through a collapse. They were suffering. They had to get food for the assemblies, the widows. Listen, this is a revolving wheel. This Besorah of Yahusha Mashiach's witness must be preached amongst the Yahudiym and the other nations. Because Christianity ain't it. Catholicism is not it. They profaned his name. How is he going to reestablish his name? How is he going to sanctify his name? And the people that receive his witness. And the people that receive his witness. Because he's going to put his ruach hakodesh in them, right? And they're going to obey his law, statutes, and commandments. But we got to get out to get to them the message of needing to receive the witness of the ruach hakodesh. This awakening has been a blessing. But for some, it's a curse. Because they've received the idea and understanding of who they are. Right? But they stuck and haven't received the witness. At least the Gentiles, right, that received the witness, received it based on the emunah of Yahusha Mashiach. Because they didn't have culture. They didn't have a covenant. But they received it. We got Gentiles that received the witness of Yahusha Mashiach. They have this ruach hakodesh. They need to go and inform, right, those who they are called to reach informed them of this witness. See, because this witness is going to bring persecution, y'all. It's going to be persecution. It's going to be persecution. You know, it's interesting because Paul went forth in this witness. Stoned, he suffered. Stripes, he suffered. Right? For this witness. Right? And he got over. He left Athens, got into Corinth, right? And had to receive a vision from Yahusha. So listen, don't be afraid to go in. Because I got people here. You got to preach. Let's witness. Got much people here. Got to go with the witness. Got to go and witness. See, Yahuwah has already revealed to me, I believe, what it is I got to do. Where I got to go. And who I got to reach. And they need to hear the witness of Yahusha Mashiach. See, the house is up to him. But I know that he's going to lead me. But this is what it looks like. You have to understand this awakening is not the end. It's the beginning. The quickening is what it's designed to bring you to. Yahusha Mashiach. Yeah, you Hebrew. Yeah, you call by his name. Yeah, if you humble yourself and pray. Yes, if you seek his face. Yes, if you turn from your wicked ways, right? Yes, if you follow through to Yahusha Mashiach's witness. The ruach HaKodesh, the water and the blood. For the Father in the heaven in Shamayim has already witnessed to it. The Word has already witnessed to it, right? The Word written and the Word made flesh and the Ruach HaKodesh. Listen, you gotta have the witness. And this witness has to be preached. You gotta preach it, man. And you can't go without preaching the witness. You got to let people know that Yahusha is the way. He's always been the way. He was the way when he came to his own, Yahudiym. He's still the witness. To the Yahudiym that are waking up to recognizing that they are his people and he is the way. Paul's third missionary journey. And you know, there are so many things that aren't recorded that Shaul did. So many things. So many people that he reached. So many people who received the word of the witness. Right? So many. So, Paul leaves Ephesus after having reasoned with the Yahudiym, who desired for him to stay. But he said that, you know, if it works out that Yahuwah allows him to, he'll be back again. Right? And he sailed from Ephesus when he landed in Caesarea and gone up to salute the assemblies. He went down to Antioch. He went through the assemblies. And then he went to Antioch to let them know what had transpired in the second missionary journey. Gone up to Jerusalem because it was a feast. Third missionary journey. Right? Listen. The awakening is nothing without the quickening. The awakening is nothing without the quickening. Just like circumcision without the witness of Yahusha Mashiach, it's nothing. Yahusha Mashiach is the fulfillment of the circumcision. By the ruach HaKodesh, we're sealed. Circumcision was a seal in the flesh. Had nothing to do with the heart. The witness took care of the stony heart. Gave us a heart of Yahuah and Yahusha, heart of flesh. And put in us the ruach HaKodesh, which is the earnestness, the seal that we are his. This awakening is nothing without the ruach HaKodesh. It's a bunch of people turned into a bunch of customs and traditions. Listen, I'm proud of my customs and my traditions, but without the ruach HaKodesh, the witness of Yahusha Mashiach. See, I know Yahuwah has called me to preach and to teach his people, right? Okay, right. I know he has. He's called me to reach the Gentile. I know he has, right? And I know that in reaching his people, I'm going to have to share with some of these people who don't know that they're his people, And at the same time, I ain't going nowhere until I introduce the witness of Yahushua Mashiach as the fulfillment of that witness. It's time for missionary journey. It's time. It's time. It's time. And Yahuwah's going to give me what I need. And when he does, I'm gone. I'm gone. I'm about it. I'm going to be about it. And after he had spent some time there, he departed and went over to the country of Galatia. Third missionary journey. And Phrygia, in order to strengthen all the disciples. He went back in order to strengthen the disciples. It was about business. He was about the business of reaching Yahuwah's people. It's about the business. Strengthening all the disciples. Strengthening all the disciples. Right? All those who had received the witness. Gentiles. All that were and had received the Ruach HaKodesh. Going back to give them the word and to increase them and to strengthen them. Because no doubt they suffered persecution for Yahushua HaMashiach's sake. Right? Because that's what the witness does. The witness is the object of persecution. Yahushua HaMashiach. Listen. We had the idea that when Yahusha said, if they persecuted me, they're going to persecute you. Right? So we kind of turned that, right, as it being a Hebrew black thing. Right? Right? Because we Hebrews, they persecute us. Right? Right? They persecute us by the Hebrews. When in actuality, right, we were persecuted because of our disobedience. Ended up in the lands of our captivities because of our disobedience. Because our ancestors failed to obey Yahuwah's Torah. And because they did, we ended up in captivity, which is not the persecution of Yahushua Mashiach, because the persecution of Yahushua Mashiach comes as a direct result of having received his witness. Okay, let me say that again. The persecution that comes with the witness of Yahushua Mashiach is not the persecution that we had ascribed it to, being us, because of our being Yahudiym. Now, the beast had in all intentions to persecute us because she knew who he was in the spirit, right? But it was because of our disobedience that we suffered it. Oh yeah, we were brought over on slave ships because of our disobedience, our ancestors' disobedience. That is not what Yahusha was talking about. He was talking about a persecution that comes as a result of the witness. And how many of us, having witnessed to the Basora of truth and the Torah of truth by the ruach HaKodesh, right? By the ruach HaKodesh, the witness of Yahushua Mashiach, have received persecution? Because this Basora has to be preached. This witness has to be preached, because it ain't that Christian thing. It's not that. They profaned his name. From the inception of what they started, it was based on the profanity of his name. And we profaned his name first, right? But they took it to the four corners of the earth and profaned it. We disobeyed his Basora and his Torah, right? That's what we did. We disobeyed his Basora and his Torah, right? We didn't keep our covenant, right? They took this Basora and his Torah and they profaned it. And they attached paganism to it. But you see, Yahusha is sanctifying his people. He's putting in them his ruach. Listen. There is no gathering until we carry the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. There is no gathering until we carry the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. There's no gathering until we carry the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. There is no gathering until we carry the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. People knowing who they are is not establishing them in the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. And the ruach HaKodesh signs should follow. Listen, this witness has to have signs following. We ain't seen this. This ain't what happened in the Christian church. We ain't seen this. Listen, since Yahushua HaMashiach, this is unprecedented. Since Yahushua HaMashiach and the Acts of the Apostles, right? We ain't seen this. Listen, somebody's going to hear me. Somebody's going to hear what the Ruach is saying to the assemblies. Since Yahushua HaMashiach and the apostles, we have not seen this. This is unprecedented. We have to preach the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach and the Ruach HaKodesh in order the signs following. That's what's going to bring the persecution. This word has to be preached to the Jew first and to the Gentiles, to the Greeks. And see, it's all over. It's all over. It's all over. They ain't worried about you knowing that you Hebrew. It's when you start preaching the witness. with signs following demonstrating power, you become a threat. That's when he's going to gather you. Oh yeah, that's when he's going to gather you. That's when he's going to take away the remnant of those who have received the witness. Everywhere. Now how, right? You got Hebrews in countries, man. Don't know they Hebrew, and they definitely haven't received the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. The Messiah still has to be preached to them. The witness of Yahushua Mashiach still has to go to them. Paul on his third missionary journey. He's strengthening the brethren, because this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. This is what the Ruach HaKodesh looks like. This is what the witness looks like. This is what quickening, right, the Yahudiym and the Gentiles look like. Yahuwah looks for somebody who's going to carry his witness to the prison houses. Someone who's going to carry his witnesses to the gay and lesbian community. See, when you start preaching Yahusha, Mashiach, and him crucified, guess what? You're going to get persecution. Listen, that's what Paul was doing in Rome. Listen, they didn't do under the sun. That was Paul was doing in Athens. Listen, it was more than just a bunch of statues. It was the worship. It was the blatant homosexuality, fornication. It was the blatant lesbianism. It was the blatant adultery. It was the blatant practices that the Gentiles were involved in. Yeah. You got to reach them with the Bazaar of truth. Right? You can't be afraid, because you know what? Yahusha is with you. Yeah, you may get persecuted. Talk about you. Say all manner of evil against you. But you have the witness of Yahushua Mashiach, because that's what it does. 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 Listen, if you... You better be prepared. You better receive the Ruach HaKodesh, the witness of Yahushua Mashiach, and you better be ready to do what he called you to do, right? You better be, right? And you better not be quenching the Ruach, because this is what it looks like, right? So, and a certain Yahudiym named Apollos, born at Alexandria, and an eloquent man, right? Mighty in the scriptures, came to Ephesus. So now we have Apollos, some of Paul, some Apollos, whole dispute, because Apollos was an eloquent man. Apollos is mighty in the scriptures. Mighty in the scriptures. Eloquent. He was able to persuade people by his eloquent speaking. Right? He could present the Basora. Right? eloquent man. He was a Jew, Hebrew. His name was Apollos. He was born in Alexandria, right? So he was a Jew, but he's mighty in the scriptures. And he came to Ephesus, right? And this man was instructed in the way of Adonai, being fervent in the ruach HaKodesh. He spake and taught diligently the things of Adonai, knowing only the baptism of Yahuchanon. So he preached Yahusha HaMashiach, right? As much as he knew it as it related to John's baptism, right? He's fervent in the ruach, right? Right? Fervent. You receive the witness. Right? This man was instructed in the way. Right? We did a whole series on the way. Right? The way. The way is obedience to Yahusha Mashiach's Basora and the Torah. Blessed are the undefiled in the way. The way is that walk after the Torah of Yahuwah. Blessed are the undefiled in the way. Right? 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 Let's go back there real quick. Psalms 119:1. All right? Psalms 19:1. It's the Aleph, right? Blessed the undefiled in the way who walk in the law of Yahuwah. Blessed are the undefiled in the way. The way is walking in the Torah of Adonai, right? So, the fact that this man was instructed in the Torah, in the way of Adonai, right? Being fervent in the ruach, he spake and taught diligently of Adonai, knowing only the baptism of Yahuchanon. So what he preached had everything to do with what Yahuchanon said, right? And having taken the scriptures that are in the original covenant, because there were no New Testament scriptures, he took the original covenant and in his scriptures was able to identify Yahusha HaMashiach under Yahuchanon's baptism. Right? Right? And he began to speak boldly in the synagogues, who when Aquila and Priscilla had heard, they took him unto them and expounded unto him the way of Adonai, the way of Yahuwah, more perfectly, right? Right? They explained to him the way of Yahuwah more perfectly. Right? Because he just had up to John's baptism and he had the knowledge of the Torah to Yahusha. Right? He had to preach the entire witness. Right? The expectation is that he preached the entire witness. Right? So Aquila and Priscilla heard him preaching Yahusha HaMashiach as the Mashiach, right? Under Yahuchanon's baptism. Right? They had to tighten up his game. Got to tighten him up. Listen, not only is he the Mashiach, but he is risen. He died for your sins. And him is the receiving of the ruach HaKodesh and establishing of the kingdom of Elohiym. That's you, right? He says. And when he was disposed to pass into Achaia, the brethren wrote exhorting the disciples to receive him, right? Who, when he was come, helped them much which had believed through grace, right? For he mightily convinced the Jews publicly, showing by the scriptures Yahusha HaMashiach, Yahusha, as a Mashiach. He was doing the same thing Paul was doing. But he was doing it not having received the entire witness. Right? He understood Yahusha as being the way. Right? Preached it. He was instructed in the way of Adonai. Right? Being fervent in spirit. Right? Being fervent in the ruach. Because he evidently received the ruach. He was baptized. Right? He was under John's baptism. He had to be baptized. Right? He had to be baptized. Right? He went forth in the ruach, because it says here, in the spirit he spake and talked. Being fervent in spirit, right? Right? And that's that same Greek word. It's not a different Greek word. Right? Right? It's the third person of the Trinity, the Holy Spirit. Co-equal. Well, this is what they say, co-equal. Fervent in spirit. Right? Listen. He spake and taught diligently the things of Adonai, knowing only the baptism of Yahuchanon. Listen. He was persuading people. He was persuading the Yahudiym. He understood the baptism of Yahuchanon. He had the ruach HaKodesh. He received the witness. Right? Listen. He began to speak boldly in the synagogues, of whom when Aquila and Priscilla had heard, they took him unto them and expounded unto him the way of Yahuah more perfectly. You know, they had to tighten his game up because he was fervent in the ruach, teaching the baptism of Yahuchanon, right? And how Yahusha was Mashiach. What Yahuchanon was doing. But he knew the scriptures. He was able to draw conclusions that aligned the Mashiach and Yahusha. Oh yeah, he was persuading Yahudiym. What Paul was attempting to do, he was doing too, right? And when he was disposed to pass into Achaia, because he was going about preaching in the synagogues too. The witness. Listen, Yahusha got people. You got people. He got people that you ain't heard of. Who ain't in the limelight. Who is going out and doing the work. The witness. And they may not be doing it perfectly, but again, eventually, they're going to run into Aquila and Priscilla, who's going to teach them a more perfect way. Listen. Yahuwah has people. He's going to bring him right to the right people. Right? Right? He says, and when he had come, helped them much. This is, and when he was disposed to pass through Achaia, the brethren wrote, exhorting the disciples to receive him. So listen, when he was getting ready to go somewhere else, they sent a letter to him. Said, listen, this brother Apollos, he's established in the Besorah and the Torah of truth. He has the witness of Yahusha Mashiach, right? We know what he teach and preach. We exhort him. We exhort him to receive him, right? And receive him, right? So, who when he was come, helped them much, which had believed through grace. Right? So he came and helped those who had received the witness of the Mashiach, right? Received the witness through grace, right? Through grace, right? Had nothing to do with them. They received the witness, right? For he mightily convinced the Yahudiym. Listen, Apollos was going into the synagogue and teaching and preaching amongst the Yahudiym. He was persuading them. It says, Aquila and Priscilla, right? Bruce heard Apollos, a brew, born in Alexandria, right? A brew, preaching Yahusha Mashiach, John's baptism, right? So they take him aside and say, listen, you preaching John's baptism, but look, this is a more perfect way, right? Yahusha Mashiach, him crucified. You have to receive the witness of the ruach kadesh, the witness of the water and the blood. These all agree, right? They took him and expounded him a more perfect way, right? They taught him, right? Gave him a word, right? He was able to make the association, right? Eyes probably lit up. Oh, okay, I got it now, right? And what did he do? Right? When he was disposed to pass through Achaia, right? The brethren wrote exhorting the disciples to receive him. The brethren, right? Now we talking Yahudiym, right? Aquila and Priscilla, the Jews that he had been persuading, right? Because they go with letters. They sent a letter. Oh yeah, this brother's good. Hear him. He's good, right? Exhorted them to receive him. He gonna come, he gonna preach, he gonna teach, receive him. Because he got a good word, right? Who when he was come helped them much, which had believed through grace. Helped them who believed through grace. He expounded on him. He talked to him. He shared the Besorah Torah truth with him. right? And then it says, for he mightily convinced the Yahudiym publicly, showing by the scriptures that Yahusha was a Mashiach. Listen, he had a grasp of the original covenant. He knew the scriptures. Right? He knew the scriptures. He knew the scriptures. This is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. Yahuwah will raise up an Apollos from out of nowhere, right? Who've received the baptism and the ruach hakodesh because they've received Yahusha's witness, right? Right? He received it. The ruach hakodesh should come, right? He received the witness from John. He was able to take the scriptures and show Yahusha Mashiach. And he received the ruach hakodesh. Listen, Yahuwah got people you ain't never heard about that's going to do the work in this last hour. Right? Yeah. Because this Besorah of Yahusha Mashiach still has to be preached. And yeah, we could get it out easier. Right? We got TV, we got YouTube. We think we good. You got people that ain't got YouTube, and you got people who still ain't got TVs. Them two we must reach. Of the Yahudiym. Let's go on to the 19th chapter. Right? Now, and it came to pass that while Apollos was at Corinthians, Paul, having passed through the upper coast, came to Ephesus. And finding certain disciples, right? Right? He said unto them, have you received the ruach hakodesh since you believed? Right? Right? Now, he comes across these disciples in Ephesus, right? He must have heard them, right? Must have heard the word that they was teaching or something. He heard them, right? Because he identified them as disciples, right? Right? He says unto them, have you received the ruach hakodesh since you believed? They were like, and they said unto him, we have not so much as heard whether there be a ruach hakodesh. Right? And he said unto them, then what then were ye baptized? Right? And they said unto him, John's baptism. Right? So evidently, Shaul was hearing them preach, or hearing a word, or have observed, somehow got the understanding that these were disciples. But they were not informed. Right? Right? They had not received the Ruach HaKodesh. Now, they were different than Apollos. Because the scripture said they received the Ruach. He had the Ruach. Right? Now, he said the Spirit. And in this particular portion of scriptures, they said a Holy Ghost. Right? But it's still the Ruach HaKodesh. Right? It's a play on words. It's like here we have, right? It says, as in the 18th chapter, 25th verse, the man was instructed in the way of Adonai, right? The way of Adonai, and being fervent in the ruach hakodesh. Right now, you had to have been made alive if you fervent in the ruach in fervent. If you're fervent in the ruach hakodesh, which means you had to have been made alive, right? Right? You had to have known the Besorah, the Torah of truth. You've had to be able to take what the word says and have it come alive in you, right? Right. You've been made alive, right? So it says, this man was instructed in the way of Adonai, Apollos, right? And being fervent in the ruach, he spake and taught diligently the things of Adonai, knowing only the baptism of Yahuchanon. He knew only the baptism of Yahuchanon, but he was fervent in the ruach, right? And Aquila and Priscilla heard him speaking in the synagogue, right? As he expounded, and they said, listen, we need to show you a more perfect way, right? It's not that your way ain't right, because it is, but there's a more perfect way. There's a more perfect way of the message of the witness, right? He had it, the Ruach HaKodesh. Because to say anything about him needing to receive the Ruach HaKodesh, right? He just needed to understand the full scope of the ministry of Yahusha Mashiach, right? That's it. He just understood Yuchanon's message, but it was enough for him to receive Yahusha Mashiach as Mashiach. You can't preach Yahusha Mashiach, right, without believing that he is the son of Elohiym. And if he can receive the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, then he can receive the Ruach HaKodesh, right? Yeah, you may need to be tightened up a little bit on what you teaching, but ideally, in order to receive, you can't preach the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, how he is HaMashiach, Yahusha, unless you've received the witness yourself, right? You've received the Ruach, you've received the word and the quickening of the Ruach HaKodesh. That's why it says he was fervent in spirit. But it should have been fervent in the Ruach HaKodesh. Because the Ruach HaKodesh leads you and guides you to our truth. The Ruach HaKodesh led him and guided him, right? Because he was persuading people in the synagogues already, right? But it guided him to Aquila and Priscilla. Aquila and Priscilla sat down and taught, showed him a more perfect way. Yahuwah gonna give you what you need, right? So here Paul is in Ephesus, right, and finding certain disciples, right, said unto them, have you received the Ruach HaKodesh since you believed? And they said unto him, we have not so even much as heard of a Ruach HaKodesh, right? And he said, see now, excuse me. Here Apollos, right, was preaching the witness. He was preaching Yahushua HaMashiach as Mashiach, right? And no doubt he came across Ezekiel, the 36th chapter, and the 26th verse, right? He studied the scriptures. He knew that Yahuwah was pouring out his spirit, his ruach. He knew it, right? He knew how Yahushua HaMashiach correlated or corresponded to Yahusha being HaMashiach. He knew that. And he received the Ruach HaKodesh as a result of it. Listen, nobody could have received the Ruach HaKodesh until Yahusha had offered up his body. and his blood had been sprinkled in the Shamayim, and until the day of Pentecost. Right? Now, Apollos had already received the baptism under Yahuchanon. Yeah. And he listened to Yahuchanon message. And he explored that message as it related to the scriptures. And he's like, oh, no, I got to go out and preach this. We don't know how many years Apollos has been preaching this witness and persuading Yahudiy. We don't know. Right? Okay, so Paul has got a whole different crew. Right? See the whole, we haven't even heard of Ruach HaKodesh. And he said unto them, unto what then were you baptized? He said, listen, well, you baptized. And they said unto John's baptism. Then Paul, he said, you can I verily baptize you with water to repentance, saying unto the people that they should believe on him that should come after him. That is Yahusha Mashiach. Absolutely true. That's what Yahuchanon preached. Right? Yahuchanon preached. Now, evidently, they weren't as astute as Apollos. Because it said Apollos knew the scriptures. Right? So Apollos could draw the connection in the original, in the original manuscript in Torah, right? And Yahushua Mashiach. He could draw the conclusion. He could receive the Ruach HaKodesh because he believed the witness. Right? Right? He said, now these individuals, right? They hadn't received the Ruach HaKodesh. They needed to be sealed. They needed to receive the Ruach HaKodesh. Right? Right? So then Paul said, you cannot baptize with the baptism of repentance of sins. Right? The water. Right? Which is important. Right? Saying that you should believe on him which was to come. Right? You have to believe on him. Right? And after that is on Hamashiach Yahusha. Right? Right? And when they heard this, they were baptized in the name of Yahushua Mashiach. So when they heard Paul preach the witness, they got baptized. Right? Right? They got baptized. Right? And then when Paul had laid his hands upon them, the Ruach HaKodesh came on them, and they spake with other tongue and prophesied. Listen, because that's what it looks like. That's what it looks. That's the order. It's the same. Same. You received the witness. You baptized. I lay hands on you. You receive the Ruach HaKodesh. Now, we must understand that it's only going to happen to those who have the witness that have the capacity to do this. And, listen, if you have the witness of Yahushua Mashiach, right, and the Basor of truth in you to declare the word to anybody, you could do this. You could do this. It ain't for a certain group of people. Don't let nobody tell you that. Don't let nobody tell you that. If you have the witness of Yahushua Mashiach and you're declaring the word and you lead somebody into Yeshua, right, by having them receive the witness, listen, you can take them to some water. You can take them to a pool. You can baptize them in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach for the remission of their sins. And then they can come up out of that water and you can lay hands on them and declare that they would receive the Ruach HaKodesh. You can do it. If you have the Ruach HaKodesh. Right? If you have the witness in you. Some of y'all ain't going to be like, oh, man, why are you telling these people to do that? Because It's the process. And if we had more people consistently doing what is in here, we would be a whole lot more successful in this Besorah, Torah of truth, in this witness of Yahushua Mashiach. He said, listen. And when Paul had laid his hands on them, the process, you need to hear the witness, right? He's going to preach to you the witness. You're going to receive the witness, and you're going to believe, right? And then as a result, you're going to be baptized, right? Going to be baptized in the name of Adonai Yahusha, right? And then I'm going to lay my hands on you. Because you got to have the ruach HaKodesh. You can't go out. You can't do nothing without the ruach HaKodesh. Got to have the ruach HaKodesh. I mean, that's what establishes you in the kingdom. That's why you got to have the ruach HaKodesh. You just say you can't go nowhere, do nothing until you receive the ruach HaKodesh. Right? Look, the Gentiles received it at the mouth of Peter. But Peter didn't even have to lay his hands on them. He just started. The people were so ready to receive a word from Yahuwah that they was already fasting and praying. And when they heard it, look, the ruach HaKodesh fell on them like it did on them in the day of Pentecost. Listen, because if your heart is ready to receive it, man, you're going to receive it. And they was ready. These disciples was ready, right? These were disciples, right? It was a group of them, right? 12 of them. Yeah, 12 disciples. They was 12 disciples, right? And he says, and all the men were about 12. They were 12. So you had people that was talking and declaring the baptism of Yahuchanon. They didn't receive the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. Because all they had was what they had received under Yahuchanon, right? The immerser. Right? Right? And, he says, in the third verse, he says, unto what then were ye baptized? Which means they were baptized. Right? And he said, under the Yahuchanon's baptism. So they were baptized by Yahuchanon. Right? Now, Paul talked to them about Yahushua Mashiach and the entire witness. And they received the witness. And after that, he said, okay, we're going to baptize you again in the name of Yahushua Mashiach. I mean, Paul, that's what he did. Why he baptized them again, because they were baptized under the Yahuchanon's baptism. And that should have been enough. But it had been a long time. And they hadn't received the ruach HaKodesh. Right? So there probably some stumbling and some bumbling. Right? So Shaul said, okay, well, let's just go ahead and do it. Let me baptize you in the name of Yahushua Mashiach and make sure you're established, right? Because you received the witness, you received the word, right? His baptism, you received the word of Yahushua Mashiach, him crucified. You understand that his blood was atoned for you. It's Shamayim, Yahuwah sent the ruach HaKodesh. I'm praying for you to receive the ruach HaKodesh. Boom, 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 boom. He laid hands on them. They received the ruach HaKodesh. See, this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. See, this is what the witness is supposed to look like. This is what the awakening is to look like, having received the quickening. But a lot of it's just the awakening. No quickening. It's the awakening minus the quickening. You have quickened who are dead. You awoke to who you are. Right? Right? These Hebrews, right, received the witness of Yahuchanon. Right? The baptism of Yahuchanon, but they weren't established. Because if they were, Paul would have never baptized them, gave them the word, and laid hands on them, received the ruach hakodesh to establish them in the witness. It would have been all good. But they weren't. You have to receive the entire witness, the ruach hakodesh, the baptism, and the blood. Yeah, you have to receive it. Even Apollos, having received the ruach hakodesh and John's baptism, he was astute in the scriptures. He was able to establish the association of Mashiach and Yahusha. And what Yahuchanon had, he received in the baptism of Yahuchanon. And what he knew in scriptures was enough to set him ablaze that he received the witness, because he found where it was written in the original covenant, right? So he was quickened to the truth. Right? So after this, right? And he went, verse 8, and he went into the synagogue and boldly for the space of 3 months disputed and persuading the things concerning the kingdom of Elohiym. Right? Paul went into the synagogue, right? In Ephesus, right? Right? In the synagogue. 3 months on the Shabbat, because this was custom, right? And who knows where he was at preaching other than that, but he was for 3 months disputing and persuading the things of the kingdom of Elohiym. Yahuwah's way of doing things. Thy kingdom come. The witness of Yahusha Mashiach, having received the ruach hakodesh. How the kingdom is in you. How you are established in the kingdom when you have received his ruach hakodesh, his witness, his seal, that places you in his kingdom, that makes you his seed. But when divers were hardened and believed not, but spake evil of the way before the multitude, he departed from them and separated the disciples, disputing daily in the school of one Tyrenius. So, you got those who receive the witness and draw closer, and those who refuse the witness and become hardened. Right? He says, and those that believe not spake evil of Yahusha's way. Spoke evil of it. Of the way. Right? They spoke evil of the way before the multitudes. He departed from them. Paul departed from them. And separated the disciples. Pulled them away from him. And disputed daily in the school of this one person, Tyrenius. Because, he wasn't dealing with that synagogue thing with them no more. Right? And this continued for the space of 2 years. Right? 2 years. so that all which dwelt in Asia heard the word of Adonai Yahusha, both Jews and Greeks. Because you know, it was a time in his first or second missionary journey, he told him not to go to Asia. Don't go to Asia, right? But evidently now Asia is hearing the word, both Jews and Greeks, right? And this continued the space of 2 years. He was there for 2 years. Third missionary journey. One location. Preaching and teaching. Persuading. Right? For 2 years. Right? So that all they which dwelt in Asia heard the word of Adonai Yahusha, both Jews and Greeks. Everybody heard it. Everybody heard the word. Yahudiym, non-Yahudiym. They all heard the word. The Basora of truth. Right? Man of Yah, woman of Yah, we're going to stop there. We're going to stop there. We're going to pick up at the 11th verse tomorrow. Shabbat. I love the Shabbat, right? I love the Shabbat, right? The heathens profaned it. They profaned the name of Yahuwah. The Christian church profaned. Titus, Claudius, whatever his name is spacing, he profaned it. He introduced sun worship. He took the Shabbat from Saturday to Sunday. They profaned it. This is not that. This Basora must be preached. Must be preached. To the Jew first and to the Gentile. Must be preached. Must be preached. This Basora must be preached. Yahuwah, I pray right now that the words that you've given me to give to them, I pray that they would receive them in emunah, that you would quicken them in their ruachs. Yahuwah, this Basora must be preached. This witness must be preached. Your people must receive the Ruach HaKodesh. They must be sealed, Yahuwah. They must be sealed. They must be sealed, Yahuwah. They must be sealed. They must be sealed, Yahuwah. They must be sealed. They must receive the Ruach HaKodesh, Yahuwah. In the name of Yahusha Mashiach. In the name of Yahusha Mashiach. In the name of Yahusha Mashiach, Yahuwah. This witness must go to the Yahudiym that still need to know that they're Yahudiym, but they need to know that Yahusha Mashiach is the way. They must receive his witness. Yahuwah. I pray for healing. I pray for deliverance. In the name of Yahusha Mashiach. I pray the words that you've given me to give to them, they would keep. I pray, Yahuwah. In the name of Yahusha Mashiach, I pray. In the name of Yahusha Mashiach, I pray. I thank you, Yahuwah. I thank you, Yahuwah. I thank you, Yahuwah, for the witness of Yahusha Mashiach. I thank you, Yahuwah. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, called to greatness. Man of Yahuwah, woman of Yahuwah. You're beautifully and wonderfully made. Yahuwah has favored you. I give Yahuwah praise for his Basora of truth. And listen. This Basora must be preached. The witness of Yahusha Mashiach must go into the four corners of the earth. There needs to be a shift from the preaching of who we are as brews to the quickening of who Yahusha Mashiach is and his witness. Then we'll be gathered. It's in Ezekiel. He says, Ezekiel 36:23. I will sanctify my great name. I will set my name apart again, which was profane amongst the heathen. Christianity, Titus Vespasian, Sunday worship, and all that stuff that's in there, that they took the Besorah and the Torah of truth and laid it on it, mixed it in, and profaned his name, right? Which ye have profaned in the midst of them, because you did it first. Because you were disobedient to the Besorah and the Torah of truth. You didn't receive the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. Right? Right? In the midst of them. And the heathen shall know that I am Yahuwah, with the saith Adonai Yahuwah. Alua. They're going to know. Right? Right? When I shall be sanctified in you before their eyes. When I set you apart. Not Hebrew. Not just being Hebrew. Not just being Hebrew setting you apart. Right? Because in order to be separated, set apart as a Hebrew, you'd have to be circumcised. Right? But it ain't enough to be circumcised in the flesh. You got to be circumcised in the heart. And that comes through Yahushua Mashiach. Because it's not just Hebrew. Right? It's not just being Hebrew. Right? He says, for I will take you from among the heathens and gather you out of all the countries, and I will bring you into your own land. After I have sanctified you. After I have set you apart with the Ruach HaKodesh. After I've set you apart in the Ruach HaKodesh. Right? After you have received the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, and you've reached the brethren, and this Besorah has gone to the four corners of the earth, reaching the nation. Yasharal and Yahudah first, and then the Gentiles. Listen. And I will take you from among the heathen and gather you out of the countries, and I will bring you to your own land, right? I will sprinkle you with water, and I shall cleanse you from all your filthiness and the idols, and I will cleanse you. He does that through the Ruach HaKodesh, the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. You have to receive the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. A new heart will I give you. Listen, the new heart is in Yahushua Mashiach, right? And a new spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, because you were dead in your trespasses and sins. Spiritually you were dead. But he made you alive in the Ruach HaKodesh. I will put the Ruach HaKodesh in you. And I will take away your stony heart out of you, and I will give you a heart of flesh, right? And I will put my Ruach HaKodesh within you, right? It's the same word. Spirit, it's the same spirit, same word. I will put my Ruach HaKodesh within you and cause you to walk in my statutes. How? That's why the Ruach HaKodesh in you causes you not to have to keep the law, because you are kept in Yahuwah, and you will keep the law. The law is not a problem. You're going to keep the law because of his Ruach in you. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, listen. This Besorah must be preached. This Besorah must be preached. This word must go to the awakening. You must read the Ruach HaKodesh. And you will keep hearing me saying it. Because faith cometh by hearing, and 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 continually hearing, hearing. The word, or the word that Yahuwah sends through the man of Yahuwah, that is his ruach HaKodesh. That's all I got. With that I say, family, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom.
Torah guardian, speaking the absolute truth. Torah nation.